Oggi siamo qua con Michael, che è un mio grandissimo amico che ho portato già più volte sul canale. E appunto il video sarà in inglese perché lui purtroppo non parla italiano. Però what I wanted to do here with you,
Mhm.
bro, is really just having a quick talk because I mean, as we said like many times, I think me and you we're really similar on many things like
Mhm.
mindset, goals, all these things. And I think one trait, like one character trait that I see a lot in you, that I see so much in me, is that you're like a dreamer. You know, like you have all these goals, you want to do so many
Mhm.
things,
Yeah.
you always think and dream so big. So I mean, talk on that. You know, would you say that you always been this way, or like
Mhm.
when all of that kind of started?
Thank you. Yeah. No, of course. Thanks for having me on the video, Francesco. Obviously, I'm Michael. I work with Francesco. But yeah, on the topic of being a dreamer, There's actually two aspects to this. Have I always been a dreamer? Yes. But have I always been the same kind of dreamer I am now? No. So I'm very different now. In the past, when I was a little kid, and I shared this before when Francesco and I have spoken, but it was mostly a case that I would see cars and I'd see houses and I'd see these beautiful things, and I always thought, I want that. I didn't really deny myself of it. I just knew I wanted it, and I didn't really know why. However, my parents and my friends and just things I would see, they kind of told me that it's not good to want that stuff. It's not for you. It's empty. It's bad. Whatever. And sometimes maybe it's true, but I was kind of shoved down. And what happened was, when I got a bit older, right after high school for me, when real life started, I stopped being surrounded by all these people who I have to feel like I have to impress and be, fake and friendly with. I was just working construction. I was just by myself most of the day and some old guys. And that's
Yeah.
when I first got into the second part of my dreaming. I just realized, you know what? There's nothing wrong with actually wanting to do better, because I'm not happy with where I'm at. I was not happy with my life.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest shift. It was about 2 years ago. That's when everything started changing in my life. It's when I stopped judging myself for the dreams I had. My whole life as a kid, I always thought, I want that really expensive car, but that's bad. I want that big mansion, but it's bad. Now, I look at it and I'm like, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So that was
Yeah.
the biggest shift. So, but yes, I have always, my entire life, definitely, but I always wanted to be a soccer player, astronaut, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's such a great point because it all comes back to like the environment. And I know we talk
Mhm.
about this like for a long time,
Yeah.
but it's true. Like if you surrounded yourself with people who are always like pessimistic, or like you gotta be realistic, all this like bullshit, let's
Mhm.
say, you know at some point they're gonna influence you to a point that maybe you're gonna start like acting and believing the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of guys like me and Michael, maybe even guys who are watching this channel, who are dreaming big, who wants to do like some crazy things in their life. And I think that the biggest thing is that everything that you're thinking right now, like every single dream that you have, like it is possible, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
And that's why I like so much having like deep conversation with you, because every single time
Mhm.
that I like mention something, or like I don't know, we discuss our dreams,
Mhm.
like you take me so seriously because you are the same.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's never
That's true.
that we're always pretty much at the same level.
Yeah.
There's never that like judgment, or like, do you think it's possible? Like fuck that.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
like discussing things, and even maybe you even add on to something.
Mhm.
So I really love that about like you, and
Thank you.
all our
It was
conversations. What do you think, like what type of advice would you give to maybe someone else who's like in our situation, maybe
Mhm.
just they're starting off, they have these crazy goals, they don't really know what to do, they don't really have the right environment, like what are some actionables that you would give them?
Mhm. Just would it be to like change their environment you're talking about, and like
Yeah.
surround themselves with better people? I think, yeah, no, it's a good question. I think one is, I wish I did this more, but test the people around you. Like, maybe the best friend that you have, like you guys have a connection. You don't get me wrong, you probably know them very well, and you might know you're gonna bring up that topic and they might not be too excited about it. But I think one thing that I realized is, like, the friends I had who I bonded with years ago over sports and over video games and over stupid things are now people who I can talk to more about business and about sales and about these things.
Yeah.
When initially that's not the base of our friendship. Obviously, most of your friends are not going to be the same as you. But before you even go out and try and find brand new people, I think it's so important to like test the people who you know. Maybe talk a little bit about your goals, your dreams. See if they reciprocate, if they inspire you as well, if they are supporting you. And if they don't, maybe it's a good indicator that those aren't people that you want to have around you. Remember, what's important is not always like where can you find what to add, but also it's figuring out what to take away.
Absolutely.
Right? So maybe if you can share with the people around you some of your goals, your dreams, the things you want to do, and they are so negative and bad about it, let's just say, that's a blessing. That's a big sign that maybe you've outgrown the person. Maybe it doesn't mean you cut them out forever, but maybe you make more distance. And now you can really focus more on the people who deserve your attention. So I think looking at the people around you, figuring out who shouldn't be near you as much, who can be closer to you, and then yes, just getting out there. Just literally, you already know one or two or three people in your phone or on Instagram or on YouTube or somewhere who you could probably like have a conversation with. You know them. They exist. Let's be real. And if they don't exist, it'll take you 3-4 minutes of just scrolling through your mutual friends or going on YouTube, even like Francesco, for example. If I were you guys at 0, I would be DMing him on Instagram or WhatsApp or YouTube, trying to get in contact. That's what you need to do. Just outreach and try and talk to people, because if you can do it and you can start that conversation, that's how we became friends. It's how everybody really becomes friends, end of the day. So those are the main things, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great point. And also what I wanted to ask you, because I mean, we, as I mentioned before, I think me and you, we always have these like crazy dreams and everything. And I'm pretty sure that maybe sometimes you also kind of reflect on that and you're like, fuck, maybe I am different, you know, maybe I have all these big goals, but like, why are you even try to chase all of these like big dreams? Because let's be honest, like most people out there, you know, as you said, maybe they're like, okay, I have these crazy dreams, but they're just like dreams, right? So what are the type of like, I don't know, reflection, realization that you had, or maybe even question that you ask yourself on a daily basis, that, you know, kind of push you to actually go and chase those dreams instead of just thinking about it?
Yeah. Well, for me, one thing I want to say is they change. So my dreams and my goals, they're not always the same. They are similar. I can say a year ago, 2 years ago, my goals and my dreams are similar to what they are now, but they've changed and they're different. So I think that's one thing to keep in mind. It's not always going to be like super static, this is my dream for the rest of my life, probably. Or at least for me, it's not. But I also think it's what I mentioned earlier. It's when I stop judging myself, I could feel, and this is what I truly believe, I think inside of every single one of us, in your heart and your soul, just there are things that you want for some reason. There's things you desire, and I think it's just something, as woo-woo and weird as it sounds, some things are just meant for you. Whether it's more greatness. I think even God, if you believe in God, right? God knows probably that if you do the work, if you have the dream, if you do what's necessary and you become that successful person, you could probably make a big change in the world. If God knows that, he'll plant that seed in your mind and see if you'll be able to go through the journey. So I think when you stop judging yourself and you look at the goals and dreams that you have, you might not know why you have them. For me, it was a matter of like providing and just helping my family, because I was an immigrant in Canada. It was a big deal for me. I wanted to make sure that there's food on the table, there's no stress about money. But that's pretty surface level. When it goes deeper, and it's I think even more special, for example, when we talk about helping people find their purpose, that's not something where I think there's a trauma where I'm just trying to deal with it with some kind of it's an insecurity, for example, and I'm trying to overcompensate. No, I think it's just in me. I think it's just intuitive. I think it's a part of who I am and what I'm meant for, and I think it's the same for you. Maybe it's different, but I believe that the biggest favor all of you guys can do for yourselves is stop judging yourself. Like, really just admit and be aware of the dreams and goals you have, and just ask yourself, maybe, why do I have them? And it's okay that I have them, but why do I have them? When did this start? What does it mean? Those kinds of things. I think that's for me what's been the biggest thing ever, and what I'll never stop doing as my goals change, and
Mhm.
I'll always ask myself why I'm thinking this, and
Mhm.
usually it's a pretty simple answer. It's yeah.
Yeah, and and I love that you say that because I mean, me and Michael, we've been talking a lot about like the why, you know, discovering like why we have these goals, like helping other people kind of discover their why, their purpose. So
Mhm.
now glad that you you mentioned that as well, and
Yeah.
thank you, Michael.
Of
I
course.
think it's
Yeah.
been a great chat, like
Like
as always.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
grazie ragazzi per aver guardato il video. Arriveranno video in italiano prima o poi con Michael.
Sì,
Ci
sì,
vorrà un
sì.
po' di tempo, ma se ti è piaciuto il video, like, subscribe e ci vediamo nel prossimo video.
Ciao.
Bella.